Well, I just want to say thanks to all of you for having us in, and honestly, Kelly, as the director of our conservation department at ODC Network, really oversees all of our work that we do with the MAC and with all area units of government. But I just want to take an opportunity to come in as well as the CEO there and just say thank you to all of you for your continued support of our work and our partnership. It is amazing to work in a community and with organizations that partner like this community does. And so we have relationships with many of you here in the room around Greenway stuff and Project Clarity related stuff, and obviously the MAC and our partnership around the watershed work is just, it's a tremendous thing to be a part of, and Kelly's team is doing a great job of that. A couple years ago when we sort of did the, I don't know if you'd call it a merger or whatever, but when Kelly came over from the MAC office into our team, she was essentially at that point in time an employee, a team of one, right? Is that fair? She now has 6 people helping her do this work within our organization, and I just think that is something we want you to know, that your investments in this partnership are leveraged significantly. It's not a small amount of money that all of you help put into it, but it's probably exponentially, 6x larger going out the other side due to the collaborative relationships that we have. So again, I just want to say thank you for your leadership, your vision here in our community, and for helping us do the work we do on behalf of the community. So Kelly really, again, is the smart one here, so I'm going to let her talk about what's going on, and I certainly am here to help answer questions if necessary. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Travis.
Yeah.
So I've got a few slides here just to kind of do some highlights of some projects and things that we've been up to. And so there's a lot here. I'm going to just hit on things briefly, and then if there's any questions, certainly welcome to take a deeper dive. But starting out with kind of projects and grants that we're working on. So the first Eagle watershed planning, we received a grant from Eagle to update our watershed management plan. Many of you are aware, Project Clarity celebrated its 10-year anniversary in 2023. That was also the 10-year anniversary of our watershed management plan, and time for an update. So that draft has been submitted to Eagle. We're waiting for comments. We'll wrap up that project by the end of the year. And so that was a significant staff undertaking primarily to just update that watershed management plan, bring it up to the current state and federal standards. We had a small grant this year from the Zeeland BPW Foundation to do water smart landscaping in the city of Zeeland. So things like converting turf grass to native plants, putting in rain gardens. We did couple different educational workshops, and we're able to work with 5 homeowners in the city of Zeeland to put in projects. We're hoping to continue that partnership with Zeeland BPW, and they are really pushing water smart landscaping, water conservation, as is the Holland BPW, and Zeeland as a customer is following suit there. So that we see as a big potential moving forward as a partnership, and to continue that work with homeowners in both Holland and Zeeland. We also had a small grant this year from the Great Lakes Commission to do what's called a landing blitz. Oh, I forgot that top picture. That's one of those projects in Zeeland where some turf grass was removed and native plants were installed. The aquatic invasive species landing blitz, there's a photo on the bottom picture from that. Basically, it's doing education with boaters, asking them if we can voluntarily, inspect their boat for aquatic plants and other aquatic hitchhikers to prevent the spread of invasive species from one lake to another. So we did that actually at locations on Lake Makatawa and also on the Kalamazoo River. So we were able to work in multiple watersheds with that project. We have an ongoing privately funded study to look at a phosphorus removal facility. This was something that we had identified early on in Project Clarity as something we wanted to look at eventually. We felt this was the time to do that. So we're actually working on wrapping up that study. Fleece and Vandenbrink was an engineering firm we hired through a competitive process. So they've given us a draft report. We're still waiting through that and hope to have, after the the first of the year, next spring, have kind of a public release of the results of that study, but really looking for something like an engineered way to remove some of that last phosphorus out of the watershed to try to help reach that TMDL, or total maximum daily load goal for phosphorus. So more will be coming on that. Ottawa County water quality monitoring. So we were part of a project run through the Water Resource Commissioner's Office in Ottawa County in partnership with the Conservation District to secure some funds that came out of the Monsanto settlement that the county received to support water quality monitoring countywide. And part of our role in that was we received funding to purchase a monitoring buoy for the lake. And I have pictures on the next slide, so we'll get to that in a second. So that was kind of our big role in that. We've got a monitoring buoy on the lake, some additional monitoring sondes in streams. So these are real-time monitoring that our data is being streamed to us directly. We don't have to go download data from these devices. And then countywide, there's additional monitoring that's happening, chemistry monitoring, aquatic insect monitoring, fish monitoring. So our team got to go out with the Conservation District a couple times this summer and see what fish we've got in the county. So, and they're kind of working their way through the county from north to south over the next 5 years to do all kinds of monitoring. And then the last one, NFWF, National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, we received a grant to do a stream bank restoration at Paw Paw Park. I've also got pictures of that one, so we'll talk about that in a second. That was also supplemented with some additional funding from TC Energy and Miller Knoll to support that significant project. So here's a few pictures. So on your left, that's what that buoy looks like in Lake Makatawa. It's kind of in that Narrows area, so if you've been on the lake, maybe you've seen it. We really worked this summer to refine its function. We had all kinds of technical difficulties we had to work through. Finally thought it was working right, and then like last week it just stopped recording data. So we're getting ready to actually take it out of the lake for the winter because it won't function if there's ice. But I think we've got it to the point where we've got it fairly well refined. We know how this thing operates. So then next spring when we deploy it, we should be getting good, reliable, continuous readings. And then the picture on your right, that's one of the stream sondes. So we actually have to put it inside like a PVC housing to protect the sondes themselves. And then you can kind of see in the background there's a box that gets installed on the stream bank. They're meant to be temporary, so we could pull these posts out of the ground if we need to, but then that box is what helps like transmit the data. So we've got 5 locations kind of in the major tributaries. Again, working through some troubleshooting on how that data is streaming and issues with batteries. They're all solar powered, and so we're working all the bugs out this year and hopefully get good data streaming in next year. I did just pull kind of a screenshot. So this is from the lake buoy. There's 2 sets of sensors at different depths. So one at about 3 meters below the surface, and the other, I think it's about 14, 15, was about as deep as we could get. And so the lighter blue, those are the surface readings. The darker blue is at depth. And so this particular parameter is the turbidity. So how much particles are in the water. And so we would tend to expect that the lower you go on the water column, the less of those particles that you see. So this data makes sense. Sometimes the data doesn't make sense, and we have to really take a look at that. And you know, a boat coming by can interrupt readings for a while. But yeah, so we're still trying to figure out what do we do with all this data, because it's a lot of data. This takes readings every hour. We can adjust that setting. So we are working, again, with this monitoring effort across the county to come up with a central website where all of the data can be shared out to the public. And certainly raw data we'll make available to partners that are interested in that, but we'll come up with some kind of more of a dashboard that's more relatable for the public to digest. And then here's some pictures from the stream bank restoration. So this is a fairly significant project. I think this is the first one that we've really taken on on the Macatawa River proper. So primarily at Paw Paw Park, a little bit went on to adjacent private property, but there were 4 different flood benches that were constructed through the park, basically in pinch points where high velocities of the stream were coming through. So to kind of slow down the water, give it a bench to flood onto and slow down, drop out some sediment. So this is just a little bit of the sequence. We had an excavator come out and do the heavy lifting, and then our team comes behind and spreads the seed, lays the blanket. So you've got some of those process pictures on the top and then some final pictures on the bottom. I think the picture in green was a couple weeks after we did the restoration work, so it's was greening up pretty nicely. We were very happy with this project thus far. We still have to go finish one little section we were going to do last week, but then it rained for 3 days, so that really didn't help. And so we'll go out this week and finish that up. And then with Miller Knoll supporting this, we'll have some of their staff come out and help us put live stakes in the ground later. We have to wait till after Thanksgiving to put those in the ground. All right, any questions on any of those projects?
I have a question.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, as you know, out at the Discovery Center, the county and Howland Township are working on Hawthorne Pond.
Right.
That project that we're doing there. So I did been riding my bike around a little bit in there. Some of the fishermen are talking about the fish are kind of looking sickly. Is there any way that your organization could possibly look at that pond and see if there's anything that we can do to, if there's anything going on there? I don't know. But you're the master, been the master forever. So I'm asking you what we should do. Not, you don't need to know now. Just bring it to your
Yeah.
attention.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
talking about Hawthorne Pond?
Yeah.
Hawthorne Pond. Yeah, I
Hawthorne
mean,
Pond, yeah.
it's a little bit beyond our expertise. Like, fish are not really our thing. I mean, we might be able to get some water samples to like Hope College to test, but
Whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trust you.
yeah. I mean, we know some fisheries people that could come take a look at the fish, and
Yeah,
so.
whatever you think.
Okay, yeah, we can connect offline.
I know it's a big deal coming up.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, I wanted to just highlight outreach and education. I've got 3 slides that show you all the stuff that we've done, so I'm not going to talk about all of these things. Just wanted to let you know we do a lot in terms of community outreach and education, and just highlight a few things. The ones I put in bold, these are all brand new to us this year. New partnerships, new events, new activities that we haven't done in the past. And then just highlight some of the pictures here. The top picture in this photo is from the Cultivating Resilience Conference. That is an event we've done in partnership with the 2 county conservation districts, NRCS, MSU Extension, to really do an educational conference for farmers. So we are planning to do one next February at the Pinnacle Center again in Hudsonville. And then the bottom photo is from one of the museum events that we did. Partnering with the Holland Museum has been really great for us this year because they get really great attendance at their events. I think we had 50 people come to learn about the environmental history of the Macatawa watershed, which never would have thought we would get that many people there. Page 2, another kind of newer partnership for us in that top photo. We've been working with Joe Bush's office, the Water Resource Commissioner, to do drain cleanups. It gives us kind of and our volunteers access to areas that we don't typically go to. We usually do cleanups on Lake Mac itself at public parks. And so this was it's called Drain 40. It runs through Holland Township, like behind like where Lowe's and that kind of shopping center is. So much trash. I mean, we removed hundreds and hundreds of pounds of trash from that, and there's still a lot left. So that's been a great partnership to leverage, their easements on those drains and to get people out there. And we've had great support with sponsors to provide dumpsters, and we can buy food for volunteers. So that's been a great partnership.
That trash
I think multiple sources, I mean, and that's kind of a next thing is really to look at where is it coming from. Some of it certainly there are uncovered dumpsters behind a lot of those shopping areas. Also some construction was going on, but most of what we're finding, plastic bags that blow around very easily. Certainly like food wrappers and things that might be discarded out of windows, things like that. We also found, I think the first time we did that cleanup, 20 tires in the creek. So some people just, use as a garbage disposal, I guess. They think it's gonna float away and it doesn't, so, yeah. And then a couple, that middle photo, that's from the kids' activities at the Holland Farmers Market. That's always a fun event for us. And then the bottom photo, that is a group from Hope College that we took kayaking. The day one watershed group, we always, their first day on campus, we always take them out kayaking. And then page 3. So a couple things to highlight here. That top photo is from our macroinvertebrate monitoring. We do that twice a year. If you've never been out and like to play in creeks, we'd invite you to come along. We'd love to take volunteers out with us. And then the bottom photo is one of our recent events. Mayor Box was along on that. We've started doing what we call Explore the Mission tours to get people out to learn about various aspects of the ODC network. So this was one to explore all of the conservation work that we do, and got to take elected officials and some municipal staff out and see some of the projects that we work on. So if anyone is ever interested in something like that, we're happy to arrange a private tour. If you have a particular project you want to go see, happy to do that.
I highly recommend that. There were some huge projects within the city in my own backyard I did not even know of. Yeah, it was really, really informative. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Okay. And I think I have maybe just a couple little slides. Just wanted to also make mention, some of you in the room are part of MS4 Communities, the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System program. Was something that I managed when I was at the MAC, for those of you that have permits, and now we have new people on board. So Holland Township gets to join the party, as do 3 school districts. So we spent a good chunk of our summer getting 4 new permits submitted. Pleased to say we received 0 comments back from Eagle, and we're just waiting for draft permits to be issued. So that's a first. But Eagle's also changed their program a little bit and provided templates and a little bit easier process. But we continue to support the 6 existing. We'll have 4 new moving forward, so that is going to be a bit of a shift of our workload, continuing to work with those, especially with the 3 school districts that are probably going to need a little bit more hand-holding. But yeah.
What's an MS4?
So it's required from the EPA and then administered in the state by Eagle for municipality. So if you're in a public entity in an urbanized area and you have a separate storm sewer system, you have to have a permit to discharge your stormwater into waters of the state. So there are various aspects of the permit, including public participation and education, illicit discharge elimination. You have to comply with, the construction site, stormwater, soil erosion, sediment control, post-construction development rules, your own facility management, pollution prevention, good housekeeping, that's called. And then if you are in a watershed with a total maximum daily load, there's some monitoring requirements there. So what we do is we work with each entity to make sure your plans are up to date and in compliance with the requirements, and then there's some inspections and things that have to be done. So we'll work with staff to make sure that those are done, or if staff want us to do it, then we can talk about a way to make that happen.
So that's what Aaron Nyborg is running around doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I know.
Yes. Yeah, we've been working with Aaron on that. Yeah. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that was my last slide. So yeah, so any other questions about all of that? It was probably a lot more. I talked longer than I was planning on it, but.
Would you say Project Clarity has been a success over the last 10 years since we started?
Absolutely. I mean, we still have a ways to go, but I mean, we made significant progress compared to where we started and where we were 10 years later. If you just look at the monitoring alone, water quality improved by 70%. It's not meeting the TMDL yet, but that's one way that we look at success. I also think it's very successful the number of farmers that we were able to work with. 65 farms participated in conservation on like 10,000 acres. Like, that's a huge success. It doesn't translate directly to the water quality, 100%, but just getting the engagement with that audience, I think, was huge. And other partners that we were able to kind of bring on board and work with us. So yeah, from a water quality, we still have, some work to do there, but 100% it was a success.
I just add a number to that, one that just is astonishing to me, but when you do the math based on like the stream restoration project that Kelly just shared, which is not in this number I'm about to share, but when you calculate the erosion that's coming off of those kind of areas across our watershed, over that 10-year period, 40,000 tons of sediment was stopped from going into the watershed. 40,000 tons.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much. Are there any other questions? The one thing I want to say is this partnership that we have, and you both hit on it, this really does exemplify our mission, our mission as Council of Governments working together for the betterment of our community. I mean, we're leveraging $140,000 a year to you guys, and you're
It turned into $1 million.
yeah, I know. It's fantastic. And I think what we're planning on doing is having Kelly here probably quarterly to give these updates, because we really do want to make sure that everyone here understands the good work that they're doing and really helping our community, helping the lake, helping the watershed, and the education piece and the MS4 side. There's a lot there. So thank you for that.